Most people love butterflies and hate moths, he said. But moths are more interesting, more engaging. They're destructive. Some are, a lot are, but they live in all kinds of ways, just like we do. There's a moth, more than one in fact, that lives only on tears. That's all they eat or drink. The old definition of moth was anything that gradually, silently eats, consumes or wages any other thing.
Hi beautiful weirdos, Charlotte here, welcome back to Pretty Scary. I'm looking very rough and very tired today because it's been a very long, hard couple of weeks, so please excuse my appearance. Today I am filming another one of my Halloween series, and as always in each of them I have hidden my malformed, misshapen, that's the word I'm looking for, misshapen Bear Edward somewhere in the shot, either in the tutorial itself or in the intro, and he'll be wearing a Halloween costume, so please comment down below and let me know where Edward is and what costume he's wearing. So today I am doing one of my 100 Years of Horror series, and it's the iconic film poster from Silence of the Lambs. So today I'm filming one of my 100 Years of Horror series, which is the 90s, and it is the iconic poster from the film Silence of the Lambs, where Jodie Foster has the moth over her mouth. I searched and searched for an iconic makeup from the 90s, but kind of kept drawing a blank. And Silence of the Lambs seemed to be kind of the definitive 90s horror film. But there weren't really many very easy sort of iconic looks from that were sort of special effects based. Obviously the most iconic look is the mask that Hannibal Lecter wears, but that's just a mask, isn't it? Let's face it. So I decided to recreate the film poster, and it's one that you don't need many materials for, and as long as your drawing skills are pretty good, then it's one that's quite easy to recreate. So without much further ado, I am going to make a start and stick my 90s music on.
So the first thing you want to do is take a black pencil and sketch out the moth on your lips. Use a reference picture for this. Obviously the poster from the film, but you can use pictures of other moths if you need some more close-up reference. Once you're happy with the shape, you want to start colouring in your moth. Now just going in with a mix of brown and yellow on the body of the moth. Again, use your reference picture. And also to paint those top wings. And then just taking some yellow on its own to paint the bottom wings. Then a little bit of white to paint the centre of the head, which is going to be the skull that's seen in the centre of the moth head. And then mix that yellow and that white and start painting on the details of the wings. So we've got stripes on the bottom, and then we've got these little tiny kind of dots, elongated dots on the body. Again, keep checking your reference. And then just adding in the detail on those top wings too. I'm just switching to a finer brush so I can get some finer detail in there. Still using that same mix of the yellow and the white. And then taking some black and a pointy brush and just adding more detail into that body. And then switching to the head, and then a little bit more detail on the wings. Just keep building this up. It's a little bit like painting a picture, but just on your face. If you're not so good at drawing, you can always draw out a moth, or print off a moth rather, from the internet and use that as a stencil. I was going to say a staple then, a stencil. painting in that skull detail on the head of the moth. This was a little tricky, but I just used a very fine brush. Then I powdered over the whole lot just to set it. Watercolour paints do dry, but the face powder just kind of helps it just to really stick there, because, you know, when it's around your mouth, there's a chance it may shift. And now, just to be in line with the poster, I painted the entire rest of my face white, because her face is very white in the film poster. They've basically taken all the colour out of her skin and put all the colour into the moth for added dramatic effect. Now, the appearance of the film poster is a little bit grainy, so this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, so I'm just stippling it on with a sponge. And the next step is just to paint some on the areas of the face where you need them to be a bit brighter. So I'm just going in around the eyes, around the nose, above the eyebrows. It's almost like a highlight, but I'm basically going with the way she looked on the poster, so copying, basically mimicking the highlights and the shadows on the actual poster itself, so that your face looks like the actual poster. Painting around the moth to create a nice clean edge, and then taking some black liquid liner just to add some more details onto that moth. So just creating the point on the end of the body and the legs of the moth. Now, I actually decanted some of the eyeliner onto the back of my hand and used a fine brush because the eyeliner applicator wasn't quite fine enough. If your eyeliner applicator is very fine, you can just use it straight from the applicator. It's up to you. A little bit of black on that head, and then just going back over the details of that skull in the centre of the moth head. Going over the detailing on the body. And then a little bit of detailing on the wings. You're basically adding depth and dimension to just make this moth look as realistic as possible and as close to the poster as possible. So take your time with this. Now going back in with some more of that white face paint, and just creating some highlighted areas on the moth's body, and also some white areas on the wings. Like I say, just keep going back to the reference picture and ensuring that you're staying as close as possible to that. If you're doing this for Halloween, you could even do a practice run either on your face or on some paper. And then just again defining around the edges of that moth just to really make it pop against the white skin. Using the fine brush to do that, and then just blending the edges away with the sponge. This step really makes a difference and makes the moth look nice and crisp. Now it's time to go in with the shadows. I'm using Margot for the lighter areas of shadow, and then Smoky Grey to deepen it up, and I'm just using a fluffy brush and just building up the shadows to mimic the poster. So in the poster, one half of her face is very much in shadow and the other half of her face is in the light, so I'm just mimicking that here. Going in with the Margot first of all to build up the lighter areas of shadow, and then I'll be going in with the Smoky Grey to add depth to the kind of the deeper areas of the shadow, so that the shadow isn't just one flat colour. Building up the shadow around the edge of the face as well with a big fluffy blusher brush. Again, just be patient with this and build it up in stages. You don't want to build it up too quickly because you don't want it to end up looking muddy, and like I say, you do want some dimension within the actual shadows themselves. They're not one flat colour. Just going in with a stiff angled brush and going over that brow. Because obviously one half of her face is in shadow, one of the eyes would be very defined and one of the brows would be very defined, and on the lighter side it wouldn't be. I also took the opportunity to contour my face to look a little bit more like Jodie Foster. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, I just wanted it to look as close to the film poster as possible. Adding some shadow around the moth too.
So this is the finished iconic film poster look for Silence of the Lambs. Like I said, it does take a lot of drawing and painting skills, so if that is your forte, then this is the one for you. And costume wise, you could just wear sort of a grey suit like Clarice wore in the film and just tie your hair back in a low ponytail or just have it loose. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up down below because that really helps out my channel. It helps me get views and helps me to keep making this free content for you. If you spotted Edward and you spotted what costume he was wearing, don't forget to comment below and comment below to let me know what you thought as well. And subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you for watching. Love you all. And I shall see you next time. Bye bye.